The sun was just rising above the horizon, painting the sky with soft shades of pink and gold. A gentle breeze lazily ruffled the tops of the tall, dry grass on the outskirts of a small American village. It was early autumn. The air was fresh and clear, and the ground still retained the coolness of the night. Farmer John Harper, a sturdy man in his 50s, rose at dawn as usual. He poured himself a strong cup of black coffee, stepped out onto the porch of his wooden house, and paused for a moment to enjoy the silence. All that could be heard were the occasional crowing of roosters, the chirping of birds, and the distant bleating of his goats. Finishing his cup, John threw on his work jacket, grabbed his old hat, and walked along the familiar path to the pasture. Sparse trees lined the road, casting long morning shadows. At the barn, he checked the bolts on the fly, made sure the gate was closed, and continued on his way to where his animals grazed peacefully among the tall beige grass. At the edge of the field, he could see his favorite white goat, which always greeted its owner with a soft bleat. For John, the morning began calmly, and as usual. Harmony reigned around him, and nothing foreshadowed trouble. John headed toward his beloved white goat, which usually grazed peacefully at the edge of the pasture. The dry beige grass rustled softly under his footsteps, and the morning sun was just beginning to rise, painting the field with golden glints. But the familiar, peaceful scene suddenly turned into a scene of horror. The goat lay on its side, unable to get up, its body wrapped in a huge spotted python. The thick snake made several tight turns, one under its belly, another across its back, and a third deep under its neck like iron hoops. Each movement of the snake resembled the slow compression of a steel spring. In the sun, its golden brown scales shimmered as if polished. The goat bleated desperately, twitching its legs, but with decreasing strength. Its eyes were wide open with horror, its breathing becoming ragged. John instantly realized that he couldn't handle it alone. He shouted, hoping that one of his neighbors would hear him, but it was quiet and empty around him. With trembling hands, the farmer took out his phone and dialed the emergency number. All he could do was pray that help would arrive in time. The python was in no hurry. It just tightened its coils, slowly immobilizing its prey, while John stood paralyzed with fear and despair, watching as the life of his beloved animal hung in the balance. Two bright red rescue SUVs quickly pulled up on the dusty country road. It was already noon. The scorching sun had turned the grass yellow beige, and the air shimmered with heat. John Harper led the rescuers straight to the edge of the field, where a white goat lay on its side, completely constricted by the thick coils of a huge python. 5 specialists in dark blue uniforms with reflective stripes and Wildlife Service emblems got out of the vehicles. They acted swiftly and smoothly, as one team. The equipment was unloaded in seconds, and everyone immediately took their place. First, the team leader aimed a powerful sprayer, from which a thick white jet burst forth. The cold, foaming liquid covered the python's scales, making them dull and slippery. Under the bright sun, the drops glistened like glass beads, running down the snake's tense coils. When the snake's grip loosened slightly, 2 rescuers carefully slid long metal rods under the lower rings to lift them and create a gap. 2 others held the python's head at a distance using rigid bars with loops, preventing it from lunging or changing position. Every movement was precise and measured. The rescuers worked without haste, but quickly, removing coil after coil. John stood nearby, feeling cold sweat running down his back, but he did not interfere. The professionals were acting confidently. The sun was blinding, the pasture around them seemed endless and empty, and the tension of the struggle between man and wild predator was almost palpable. After intense efforts by the rescuers, the goat was finally freed from the python's tight coils. The animal's heavy body trembled with stress, but it could now breathe freely. 5 specialists in dark blue suits quickly examined the goat on the spot, checking its breathing and the condition of its limbs. The long sticks and rope loops were carefully removed, but the team's attention remained on the animal. The goat slowly raised its head, its eyes wide open, but no longer filled with panic and terror. One of the rescuers gently supported her under the chest, while another checked her legs for bruises or wounds caused by the snake's pressure. The others stood nearby, ready to help if the animal tried to stand up or make a sudden move. John stood slightly to the side, clenching his fists, watching every movement. He understood that the goat was still in shock and that her recovery would take time. Despite the stressful situation, the atmosphere was tense but positive. The rescue had been successful, and now all that remained was to support the animal and let her recover. The sun was high above the field, illuminating the pasture, the golden grass shimmering in the light. The white goat was slowly brought back to consciousness after severe stress, carefully supporting her under the chest and checking her breathing and legs. Then they began to carefully examine her above the snake's coils to make sure there were no serious injuries, and the veterinarians began to treat the wounds caused by the python's attack. After a thorough examination, the white goat was carefully laid down on a soft covering on the pasture. Veterinarians and rescuers began to apply bandages step by step to all areas where the python had constricted the animal's body. Every movement was carefully thought out. The bandage was applied gently so as not to cause pain and securely fixed the skin. For minor abrasions and scratches, blue medical plasters were used, carefully sticking them to the affected areas to protect the skin and speed up healing. The rescuers gently supported the goat under its chest and sides, monitoring its breathing and reactions, ready to catch it instantly if it jerked. The white goat gradually calmed down and no longer tried to break free, but its eyes remained alert. The experience of recent danger had left its mark. The work proceeded slowly and carefully. Every detail was important for a full recovery, and the team of rescuers and veterinarians worked quietly and smoothly so as not to frighten the animal. The golden grass of the pasture shimmered in the sun, emphasizing the calm after the tense rescue and creating a feeling of hope and care. After all the bandages and blue medical plasters had been securely fastened, the white goat gradually came to her senses. Her breathing became steady, her movements more confident, and her gaze calm and attentive. Rescuers and veterinarians were still nearby, gently supporting the animal, checking its legs, neck, and chest to make sure the injuries were healing properly, and nothing was causing discomfort. John Harper stood nearby, feeling relief and joy. He gently stroked the goat's head and neck, and the goat seemed to respond with trust and gratitude. Each step she took was cautious but confident. She could walk across the pasture again, assess her surroundings, and graze. The rescuers watched quietly, smiling, and discussing the success of the operation among themselves, but did not interfere with the animal's natural recovery. Thank you for watching until the end. Please like and subscribe to our channel to support us. See you next time.